Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside Now. This is the Tuesdays Wrestling Talk. And who said that we weren't coming on 2 minutes late? Technical difficulties already today.
Well, technically, we weren't late. It just wasn't letting us play. We were here.
Yes, this is true. I don't know what happened, but all at once it just didn't want us to come on live. But we are here on Facebook and YouTube right now. And Rodney, we're going to talk World Championship Wrestling, and let's go ahead and start it. And if I freeze up,
we'll just think that that's a blessing and we'll go with it. All right, so now.
All right, World Championship Wrestling. I believe this is November 9th, 1985.
That's right. We open up with Superstar Billy Graham and Paul Jones. And Superstar Billy Graham is calling Paul Jones. Paul Jones heads to the ringside, and then it freezes, and then we go to the open. And then we come up with Tony Schiavone, David.
That happens around here, too. We freeze as well, but that's different.
Correct. And then we have voices coming from we don't know where. And then, okay, so we come up with Tony Schiavone, David Crockett. They announced the tournament for the World Television Championship. Arn and Ole Anderson's out there. Arn still has the World Television Championship belt. They talk about the upcoming tournament. They just don't understand why there should be a tournament when Arn obviously has the belt. In the first match, it's Manny Fernandez against Vernon Deaton. Manny Fernandez wins that with a flying burrito, followed by a leg drop from the second rope. That was an overkill, if you ask me. And that match with Manny Fernandez over that. Interview with Terry Taylor. And, of course, he's talking about his National Heavyweight Championship defense at Starrcade 85. He's not going to announce his opponent just yet. He knows who it is, but he's not going to. I guess he's trying to keep up the suspense. That anybody would care who he's wrestling anyway. I know I didn't. Anyway, so it's Terry Taylor's interview. Match number 2, Keith Freeze. What a great name. Keith Freeze and Jimmy Blackman against Ole and Arn Anderson. They are the national tag team champions. Arn Anderson gets the win in that one with the Corkbuster on Freeze. Ole and Arn Anderson, the winners in that one. Interview with Tully Blanchard with Baby Doll. They review what had been happening last week, of course, with Baby Doll being kissed by Magnum TA, the big fight, and the upcoming I Quit match inside the steel cage at Starrcade 85 with Magnum TA. So it's going to be Tully Blanchard, Magnum TA in the steel cage I Quit rules. 6-man tag team match was up next. Ivan Nikita Koloff along with Crusher Khrushchev against Jimmy Langston, Kent Glover, and Larry Clockett. The winners, of course, is the Russians are the winners of that one. It's Nikita Koloff catches one of the opponents, I forget which one, with the Russian sickle. Ivan Nikita Khrushchev, the winner of that one. Match number 4, Rock and Roll Express against the Jeffers brothers. Double drop kick on Jim Jeffers, Robert getting the pin, and that one, Rock and Roll Express over. Starrcade update. We have some more matches going to be announced for this one for Starrcade 85, The Gathering. For the vacant Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship, it will be Crusher Khrushchev against Sam Houston. They also announced the Atlanta Street Fight with the Midnight Express, managed by Jim Cornette, to face Jimmy Valiant, Miss Atlanta Lively, with Big Mama in the corner. Also scheduled for this when we finally get to hear about who Terry Taylor is going to be defending the National Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be Buddy Landell. Then they're going to have the match, the Barbarian against Billy Graham. Before that, a $10,000 arm wrestling contest between the Barbarian and Billy Graham. And also signed for the World Heavyweight Championship, it'll be Ric Flair against Dusty Rhodes. Tremendous match on that one. We also have, if I'm not mistaken, then they go back and they show where Dusty made his return back at the Omni against Mike Davis. And then later on comes out in the 6-man tag match, taking Manny Fernandez's place. Dusty against Ole Arn and Ric Flair. In the end, it's Dusty getting Ole Anderson with the loaded boot. And that's the beginning of all of that, getting ready for the big Starrcade. And I have to tell you, the build-up for this is just tremendous. Challenge series match. It's going to be Billy Jack Haynes against Thunderfoot. Billy Jack Haynes, of course, winning that one after Thunderfoot tries to load the boot and then tries to unload it. And as Manny Fernandez is up there telling the referee that there's been a loaded boot, it is Haynes coming from behind, getting rolling up a Thunderfoot for the windfall, or for the pinfall. Billy Jack Haynes is the winner of that. Would interview with Billy Jack Haynes, Manny Fernandez. Not sure who or what Manny Fernandez is talking about. He seems to be talking about the Andersons when he's going to be against Abdullah at Starrcade. Really not sure what's going on there. But Billy Jack Haynes talks about what happened to Dusty and talks about his match coming up with Ole and Arn Anderson at Starrcade. Next week's challenge series is a 6-man tag team match, as it will be the Andersons, Ole and Arn, and Ric Flair taking on Ronnie Garvin, Pez Whatley, and Terry Taylor. Then we have the interview with Dusty, and he talks about the big match coming up. Talked about thanks to his doctor. Talked about thanks to Jim Crockett Jr. And he talks about Starrcade and the upcoming his World Championship match. And this is that famous Hard Times interview. Just awesome. Dusty really sells the tickets in this one. Match number 6 has Ron Garvin against Paul Gardner. And it's Garvin winning with that big Garvin punch. And then Garvin just sets on him for the pinfall. Absolutely fantastic. Ronnie Garvin, the winner of that one. Interview with Ivan Nikita Koloff. Crusher Khrushchev talking about his match with the Mid-Atlantic Championship. Nikita's talking about the World 6-Man Tag Team Championship, the World Tag Team titles. And then, of course, Ivan talks about Dusty, saying who cares about how hard times he's had. And then, of course, he talks about him being the Team of the Year and talks about the Rock and Roll Express. And then right about that time, they cut him off. And then Ivan gets on Tony Schiavone. Wait, that's not my fault. It was totally awesome. Interview. And the next interview was with David Crockett from Worldwide with Jimmy Valiant and Big Mama. And they introduced Miss Atlanta Lively. And they go back over the whole situation between Jimmy Valiant and the Midnight Express, Miss Atlanta Lively. And that, of course, comes up with the Atlanta Street Fight coming up at Starrcade. Match number 7, the Barbarian with Paul Jones against Gerald Finlay. Of course, the Barbarian winning that one with the Power Slam, followed by the headbutt from the top rope. And then it's the interview, Arn and Ole Anderson again. And this time, Arn mentions for the first time 4 Horsemen and talks about the gathering. Ole and Arn talks about Haynes and Wahoo, and Ole makes a threat to Dusty Rhodes, telling him not to be left alone. Don't be surprised. You never know. They may bring the whole Anderson family from Minnesota for Starrcade. Match number 8 is the United States champion Tully Blanchard against Joe Malcolm. In that one, it's, of course, Blanchard wins with the slingshot suplex. Easy for me to say tonight. And, of course, Tully Blanchard with Baby Doll. Interview with Paul Jones, and he goes over the situation with Billy Graham, what we saw earlier. And, of course, this is where superstar Billy Graham called him a weasel. He goes to the ring, and the Barbarian and Paul Jones double up on Billy Graham, setting up for the big match. Of course, at Starrcade with the Barbarian. Of course, the $10,000 arm wrestling challenge. Then it's match number 9, national champion Terry Taylor against Amos Moses. That's a tremendous name there. And then, of course, Taylor wins that one with a flying forearm, followed by the superplex, which I don't really remember Taylor using, but he obviously did. And the last of the program is the Rock and Roll Express. They're talking about the upcoming Starrcade, the cage match with the Russians, and the promise that they make to win the World Heavyweight World Tag Team titles at Starrcade. And that closes the show out.
Good job. To me, a great job on getting ready for Starrcade, and the Hard Times interview, tremendous. Jack?
Oh, yeah. Great interview. Of course, I'm still trying to figure out why it's the flying burrito and not the wild taco. But
very good question. Very good question. And the whole build up to that, and then why he would go to the second rope for a knee drop.
Yeah, definitely
kind of overkill.
And I would like to comment on the Terry Taylor match, but
go right ahead.
I didn't watch it.
There's nothing spectacular on this show. It was just a good show getting ready to build up for the Starrcade. And so it was great. And the Hard Times interview I watched.
Now I did enjoy the Thunderfoot Billy Jack Haynes match, which I don't really care that much for Billy Jack Haynes. I thought he was just too stiff, too muscled up. He was more concerned about flexing than moving around in the ring. But this was a good match. Now that was Joel Deaton under the hood, and it was I thought it was probably the best match on the show in my opinion.
Good card.
I thought there was a lot of information given in this one. A lot of action. Maybe not in the ring, but they gave a lot of stuff. The superstar Billy Graham and Paul Jones, nearly having a connection, and Tony Schiavone said, "Calm down." Would you just calm down? I thought that was awesome. Tony just does just enough not to become overbearing. It's just perfect in his delivery. And then let's see. I thought the threat with Ole about Dusty, I thought that was awesome. I mean, he told him we're going to bring the whole family from Minnesota down. I thought that was awesome.
It was a great show. It was a great show. It did what it needed to do. Nothing spectacular on the show. It just was good promoting for the show coming up for Starrcade. I thought it was tremendous. Let's go ahead and get to the insiders and see what they've got to say. By the way, we will see. We don't know what we're going to do World Championship Wrestling next week. We may have a special guest. Who knows what's going to happen next Tuesday? We'll just let you know later on in the week. But let's go ahead and get to the insiders and see what everybody has to say this evening. Chaplain Fred. All right, I knew this was going to happen.
Freddie Rooster Roper.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my friends. Hello to you. I knew that was going to happen tonight when I could not get on. And then when I got there and I was already getting stuck in places.
Y'all have no idea. There was microphones falling. There were lights going out. And that was all on Brent's end. Me and Roger were fine. We were ready to go.
I've been here
like he was having a hurricane over there or something.
I've been here since 7 o'clock, so I was ready to go.
It took me at least 10 minutes just to get my computer to come on and get this thing going. I've just had a hard time today.
You know what hard times is, then, don't you?
James Casey, howdy y'all. Michael, how you doing? I want to even try.
Rollerson.
Rollerson, is that how you say it? Rollerson. Yes. There you go, Michael. I got your name right this time. I may not get it right the next time.
He's about to the point where he's just going to go with whatever. Call him Jones if you want to. He'll go.
Will Willer. I was part of a podcast. Slow start.
All right.
Glenn Shelton, hello. And every time when I go into hit one, I'm going to be a little bit lagged.
It looks like you're being caught by surprise.
I think so. Daniel Lang, 2 minutes late. Would Bill Watts fine you? If so, were you guys going to send your fines? Yes, he would fine you for 2 minutes late. Yes, he would.
That's correct.
When he said 1 hour before match time, he didn't mean 58 minutes before.
That's correct. You have to be in the
I'll tell you who had the here's how it would go. Grizzly Smith would have his little paper. And when you walked in late and you knew you were being fined, you didn't even have to, he just write it down on you.
And that wasn't in the building. That was in the dressing room. That wasn't in the building. That wasn't in the bathroom. That was in the dressing room. You had running around the concession stand. No, you had to be in the dressing room an hour before showtime.
Now I'm pretty sure that he fined people, and then gave them a bonus later on to offset that. But he would still fine you. So, Mickey Mayfield, howdy, fellows. How's things? It's all right. Just a little stop action tonight.
I had my first COVID shot today, and
all right,
no problem.
I'm wanting that Johnson & Johnson myself. That's one shot. Kevin said his froze too.
Well, put a coat on it, Kevin. You'll be okay.
Lynn is with us. Good evening, gentlemen. Evidently, he's at a different show.
I love that Facebook prison inmate. Poor veteran.
Jeremy Travis, good evening from the Monty Lawton, Fort Steele area. How you doing, Jeremy? Yvonne Burns, hello from Western Pennsylvania. Mike Mezzer, the dreaded Thunderfoot loaded boot.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on here, Mike, on our YouTube channel. We appreciate it. Will Wheeler said he loved Starcade 85.
Yeah, it was a good
Well,
card.
that was a great show. Susan Renee with us from Rome, Georgia.
Hey, Susan.
The boss is with us from
Hey.
Point, Mississippi. How you doing, sir? Thank you so much for coming on here with us. Kevin Penley, why would the Bleacher Report say that Randy Savage and Bill Dundee fight happened in the wild when I heard it happened at a gym? These gyms are now called the Wild.
I thought it happened at a Waffle House. Wasn't it at a Waffle House?
I believe it was kind of in the parking lot, wasn't it?
It was at the parking lot at the gym.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of some other Randy Savage meltdown.
Randy Savage and I think it was Dutch Mantel were eating at a Waffle House, and a fight broke out. Between the cook and because he wanted his food, Randy wanted his food. Right. He was hungry, and a dog bit him and everything on during this whole thing. But this certainly happened with. It was during the time the Poffos were running opposition to Jerry Jarrett, and I guess they were trying to get a little publicity. It was just the wrong kind of publicity. So, and I kind of believe Bill Dundee's story more than I believe Randy Savage's, because I would believe every one of them were in the van together. That's the only way they could afford to get to the towns at the point, because they wasn't drawing. And so I could see that all of them were together, and Randy Savage did what he did. So, Glenn Allen Shelton said hello from parts unknown.
I got ran out of that town once.
Joe Hambley, hello from Williamsburg, Kentucky.
Beautiful Kentucky.
Glenn Allen Shelton, what Matt Riddle say? What's that mean?
Hey, bro.
Oh. This poor old guy. This poor old guy doesn't have the. I don't know.
I'd like to praise him.
You're looking for the word. It's panache or panache, whichever you prefer.
Jeremy Travis said, "Is this the Starcade that Manny Fernandez claimed he and Abdullah Butcher was supposed to be the main event?"
Probably. Well, I'm sure that was all the Starcade.
Yeah, that was the idea in the beginning. Manny and Abdullah, the main event at Starcade.
I'm sorry, but the Ric Flair Dusty Rhodes is going to be the main event of that thing from the beginning. So, Glenn Allen said he could beat up past wrestlers. Oh, that's what Matt Riddle, I think, had said. Oh. He could beat. I'm sorry, but Dick Murdoch and he could probably beat up Dick Murdoch now because he's passed away in the grave. But I don't know that you could have done that. I don't think he could have beat Harley Race if they were the same age.
Could you imagine this doofus against Ole?
Oh,
or Buzz Sawyer?
Man,
number one,
stand a chance.
The kicks that he does, this looks horrible. You think he could at least work on those, but
first thing you do with him, stomp those toes, and it's over. Bam. That's it.
Let's see. Richard Hood. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you. I hope you're doing good, Richard. Glenn said, "I think I'm in it." I'm not for sure what he's talking about. Richard Hood said, "Love the Dusty Ole feud. That was a tremendous feud. It drew a lot of money." Susan Renee said, "The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes." Yvonne Burns, do you believe that Paul Jones did not get the credit that he deserved for being a very skilled and good wrestler, Rodney?
No, I think everybody knows that Paul Jones was a great wrestler. And he wrestled for years. I'm talking Florida, he's talking Georgia. He had a very long career and success as well.
Yeah, the thing I'm finding out is that, if you didn't watch the Mid-Atlantic stuff and you didn't watch the Florida stuff, people now are just completely ignorant as to who Paul Jones is, and their only memory of him is doing the manager thing.
Oh,
in fact, I got into this debate because I wasn't real nice, but I'll call it a debate. But I schooled somebody on the greatness of Paul Jones a couple of days ago because he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a tremendous wrestler. And by then he was getting older and he was selling Amway, so he didn't have time to wrestle. Michael said, "Good enough, guys." So that's good. Lynn said, "Lost a dear friend of mine today, Miss Ann Casey."
Yeah, and actually, she passed yesterday. That we had just got word as we went on, and I wasn't able to verify it, so we didn't really talk about it last night so much. Ann was great. I love talking to her.
Richard Hood said, "The way Bill Watts fine talent, I would just lived at the arena." Just get there. See, that was the thing about Grizzly Smith. Grizzly Smith was, people would get mad at Grizzly Smith. They call him a stooge. Well, that's what he was.
Yeah.
That's what he got paid to do.
Yep.
And he would also watch the matches. He had a report. And there for a while, our father, Ronnie West, also had a report. And they would have to write down the matches, what happened in the matches, if they were good or bad. And what would happen was he would take those reports, Bill Watts would take that reports and said, well, what two matches? Y'all must have been watching two separate matches. Or Ronnie said this match was good, but you, Grizzly, said it was horrible. Y'all watching two separate matches? And that he would make you fill out reports. Somewhere here, I have those reports. I'll have to find them, but there's somewhere where he made copies of them, and I've got them. I just don't know what I did with them. I hope they're not part of that water log problem that we had. So, Susan Renee, Dirty Dutch, love Dirty Dutch Mantel.
Yep, great,
great storyteller. It's a tremendous storyteller. Kevin said Randy had a fight with Rip Rogers at a Waffle House.
I don't remember him fighting Rip Rogers.
He has problems at the Waffle House. Let's just be honest.
He didn't need to go to
the Waffle House. He needs to be barred from the Waffle House.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Rip's one of those guys I don't believe I'd want to fight either.
No, no. What is it? Colt Ford that has a song about Waffle House. Have y'all ever heard that? Yeah. Meet Me at the Waffle House. Great little song. If you've never heard it, Colt Ford. I don't know what. I guess it's Meet Me at the Waffle House. I'm not for sure. Mike, that last name.
Morrison.
Jones.
There you go. Paul Jones was a very good wrestler back in the day. He just forgot to duck the Super Destroyer cigar when he was Mr. Florida in '79.
That was a great angle. That was great.
Paul Jones was a great wrestler, and for those people who have not seen him wrestle, there's all kinds of videos online, and he was tremendous and really a better wrestler than he was a manager.
Oh yeah.
By far he was. Paul, sorry, last night's live telecast, I was watching the episode of The King of the Paul? I'm not for sure I should even read your message.
Just for that, we're going to mispronounce the name of your town from now on.
That's right.
Let's see. Kevin said Rip gave Randy a butter knife. So was it Rip Rogers instead of Dutch Mantel?
No, I think Dutch is the one who was telling the story that I remembered about being there. I just got confused about it being Bill Dundee you got in the fight with.
By the way, Michael, there is another name coming up. And I don't know how to pronounce that as well. So you're not the only one that I will not be getting this name right. So I'm going to let Jack and Rodney figure this one out.
James Llewellyn.
Llewellyn, that's right.
All right, there we go. Hello.
He probably had a family member that was on the People's Court. Doug Llewellyn. Are you related to Doug?
From Lexington, North Carolina. Starcade 85 was better than 84, but 83 was the best. 83 with Harley Race, Ric Flair?
I believe so.
The Flair for the gold?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was 80? What was 84? Was it Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes?
That was $1 million match there. 83, I think, was also the one. Wasn't it the one with the dog color match with Piper and Valentine?
I think it was.
Maybe, yeah.
Were they about? Did almost tear.
That's the one Rock and Roll Express against Stoley and Arn in a cage too. Can't remember which one that was. That was a heck of a match, though. Whatever.
That might have been 85.
That might have been. I'm not good with dates.
Well, I don't know. Well, they're going against an 85. They're going against the Koloffs. So we'll have to look that up. Victor Nash. Hello, everyone. I'm late, but I'm here. How is everyone? We are doing well, except for the computer problems and me not being able to read names. That was, other than that, we're doing all right. The episode that...
Guinevere, Ontario. I told you, Paul. I told you.
Gandalf, Ontario. You shall not pass.
You're going to have to spell that, make that where we can read it every time, because we ain't catching this. We ain't never going to catch it. We're from the South.
I may need to do a Wikipedia look on that area, and maybe I can. We will. I doubt it, because I can't even get Michael's names right. So I'm pretty sure I'm never getting that one. Epic Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes. Some great matches. But I do believe there was too many of them, what they call dusty finishes. There were too many of those after a while. It hurts. Victor Nash, he can't even beat Arn Anderson at his age now.
He couldn't whip cream. Let's just be honest. The only thing he did is run his mouth. And on TV, it's not worth watching either.
Well, I understand what he's doing. He's trying to fire up the older fan base to actually watch the show again, if nothing else, just to hate on him.
Yeah,
it's probably not a bad idea, but it's not truthful.
Sean Yawn, is that Shane Yawn? Excuse me.
Shane.
I'll tell you, this has not been my day. I'm telling you. When did Jack have a match with Mr. Wrestling 2, and who won? I'm asking Jack at the bottom of the screen. Well, that's I never wrestled Wrestling 2. So.
I had several matches with Wrestling 2, and my record is impeccable. I never won a single one of them.
Perfect record there. Yes.
Oh, Michael, Mickey. I just want to read these this stuff tonight. Mickey Mayfield, could you imagine what Les Thatcher would do to the Riddle?
Yeah.
Rip him, Riddle.
David Mullins, I like the Four Horsemen. Yes, and then they're about to be called the Four Horsemen, and they're getting ready for it. Aren't already starting to talk about the Four Horsemen.
Yep.
Kevin said, wasn't Paul Jones Mr. Florida in Florida? Yes, he was. Aaron is with us. Aaron Garland, how you doing? He's got the two big thumbs up.
Oh, you got two thumbs. Okay.
Yeah, he gave us two thumbs up on that. Richard Hood, Abdullah was upset with the booking before the match at Starrcade with Manny.
I was upset about Manny too.
Susan Renee said, I would love to see that. I'm not for sure what, at this point, what we were talking about. I can't even get people's names right. There's no way I remember this. Victor Nash, Jack, do you guys know what Bugsy McGraw is up to now, or is he still around?
He lives in Florida. They have a monthly Legends Luncheon in Tampa, and I've seen him, pictured there just about every month. So he's doing fairly well, I reckon.
Susan, I'm going to pass by your, but you're probably right. That's what the good stuff does happen at the Waffle House. But I'm going to pass it by, not because I'm trying to be rude.
Yeah, all the good stuff happens That's the Waffle House. She didn't say stuff, y'all.
Yeah, she didn't say stuff, so I'm gonna pass by that.
She ain't wrong. She ain't wrong.
No, she ain't wrong. She's right about it. But we'll pass by you. But we did want to say we agree with you that all that stuff does happen at the Waffle House. Glenn Allen Shelton said, Dutch, nice guy. Yes, he is. Charles Bellflower said, Grizzly Smith headlined many cards at the J&J Center. Grizzly Smith was a great person, but we one morning was sitting in Shreveport, Louisiana, right before we were going to do interviews. They were going to do interviews at the Shreveport, and he told us some stories that were incredible stories, and he could have wrote a book on these stories that he told. And I don't know if they were true or not, but he told them as they were true. And Grizzly was a great guy, though. But every time you saw him, you knew what he ate because he always had food stains on his clothes.
I'm checking to make sure.
Well, that's how you had to do it at Mid-South. You eat and run.
Boy, we were eating at whatever that motel. There was at the motel we were staying at. They had a place that you could go eat breakfast, and I just remember the story. I don't remember even what I ate. Mickey Mayfield said, "Love Paul Jones versus Blackjack Mulligan." Yeah, very good man. David Lawson said, "Dutch said a guy came in at the Waffle House saying he was getting married." Macho says, "Who gives?" Susan, I might as well just went ahead and showed your thing.
Oh, I mean, that's you just fill in your own word there.
That's true.
Dadgummit. Who gives a dadgummit?
Black Bart speaking now. That's when the stars. Yeah, I can see Randy Savage doing that. I mean, he did punch Hulk Hogan in the eye. So James said Paul Jones and Ricky Steamboat were World Tag Team Champions and also with the Masked Superstar.
Yeah.
And Paul Jones was the World Tag Team Champions, Baron Von Raschke as well.
Greg Hickey, howdy guys, hello to you. Richard Hood, Randy got into it with another customer Waffle House and pulled out a butter knife. He was going to butter his bread. That's what he was going to do.
That's right.
I think somebody actually grabbed it.
They're always stingy with the jelly at Waffle House. Not sure why.
Well, they were all right with the butter, though. They were fine with the butter.
Better knives.
Yeah. James said, I was always picked on about Doug on the People's Court, that he was my uncle, but he was not.
I would have claimed him.
I'm sure you would. I would.
Paul said, love you guys. Lots of laughs. I love you too. Paul, we appreciate it. We're just on here to have a good time. Glenn said, my boss was Lou
Llewellyn.
What's that say? At Dana?
Dana, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know who Dana is.
Travis.
There's no Dana here. There's only Zool.
I think the problem with the Dusty finish was the fact they got overexposed with wrestling all over cable and closed circuit pay-per-view. I agree with that. I think they overdone it. I think he overdone that finish. And I think that wrestling itself was hurt by those types of finishes. Dad always said wrestling only draws when you have winners and losers. That occasionally you can do the disqualification. Occasionally you can do the run in. But if you do it too much, it will kill your towns. And he said that for years, from the time he started in 1962 until he said that was always the killer of a territory, that people wanted to see winners and losers. He said also people who was mask versus mask matches. And then the guy lost and he had two masks on. He said that will always kill your territory, because you should give them exactly what they paid to see. And that happens so many times, and that's almost like a Dusty finish. How many times did you see Bullet or Wrestling 2 or somebody lose, and then they had a second mask on? Oh, yeah, he took it off. That's cheating the people, basically. And he always said that was cheating the people. So,
yes.
I mean, wouldn't you consider that similar to a Dusty finish? Yes. Loser leave town matches, and they come back as a mask match. that's again, it dilutes it. You can do it once, but if you do it 2 or 3 or 4 times, it dilutes your company to a point that the matches mean nothing. All right, I'll get off my soapbox now. He came up with Jeremy. Let's see what you started. Mickey, Jack, in those matches of 2, how many knee lifts did you eat?
Only one on the finish. And I was actually the one who, it was always tag team matches, but I was the one who always asked to be the one that got pinned because I love just knowing that, I was in there with him and he beat me.
Oh, by the way, guys, I meant to tell you this, and while I'm thinking about that, Dickie Gunkel, Dickie Steinborn, by the way.
Oh,
Dickie Steinborn. And somebody said on a post that he will just leave it to our imagination who Dickie was, and that was Dickie Steinborn. They were tag team partners, and they went into the Gunkel brothers earlier on Dickie early career.
Wow!
Did not know this. Learn something new every day. Let's see. Michael said Bugsy was so fun to watch. You didn't know what he was going to do. Bugsy McGraw in the back would always have a stutter. He would stutter, and he did all the way through it. But when he got out there and done his interview, you wouldn't have knew it. I mean, he had a personality like no other. Bugsy McGraw was a tremendous wrestler. He was tremendous in what he did and got over in Texas big time. While I think it was Gary Hart booking at the time.
In Young Texas. Yeah, you sure was. They were doing the body slam thing, and that was awesome. I think Bundy, wasn't it Bundy there? They were doing the body slam challenge with him.
I think it was, but he was over there. He really was. Gary Hart was very smart in his booking. He knew how to get people over. Dick Shannon said Bugsy is a nurse in Tampa.
Okay.
Saw him at the Jack Briscoe funeral. Lynn said, I never worked wrestling too, so I don't know about his knee lift, but I do know Johnny Walker would take your head off.
It's according to whether he liked you or not.
Jeremy wishes that Lawton would get a Waffle House.
No, you don't. All them soldiers will be there 24 hours a day. Fight. Just fight.
Susan Renee, she sent us another thing, and this time she didn't use no bad language. It says, okay, I have to ask, when Randy got into stuff at the Waffle House, did he use his macho? I think he always used that.
That wasn't a work, as we call it. That was real. That's the way he talked.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't make that up. That was him. Let me tell you, he always had that gravelly voice. Kevin, they say it was his actual voice. Yes, it was. Michael said, you better watch out for Rusty on People's Court. Susan Renee said, seriously? Kevin said, was Mil Mascaras 220? I always heard he was like 270.
I don't think he was ever 270.
No, oh, Lord, no.
I don't even know if he's 220.
Yeah, that'd been pushing it because he was not a big guy.
No, but boy, he always.
Now, wait a minute. Now we're not counting into. We're not taking his ego into effect. So it could be.
That's just his head. That's okay.
Hey, by the way, Blue Demon Jr. would not take his mask off to go into. He has some show coming on, maybe the Disney Channel or something.
Yep, it's on the Disney Channel.
And he would not take his mask off, so they had a big problem at the front gate because he said, "No, I'm not taking my mask off." Okay. Blue Diamond Jr. I think he lives in Florida now. I talked to him maybe 2 or 3 years ago. All right. James said, when Paul Jones and the Masked Superstar won the World Tag Team title in Greenboro, the Superstar had to mask, and he did.
He certainly did.
There is a photograph that we have actually posted online of him actually doing that, taking his mask off, and he did that. That was a great way to get people to buy a ticket to come to wrestling. That if he won the titles, he would unmask, and probably people didn't think that was going to happen. That's what made it really good.
Of course, and here was other things. Even when he unmasked, nobody knew who he was.
This is true. Yeah. Victor Dash said, Jack, did you see when Bobby Lashley became WWE champion last night?
I did. It was pretty good.
Greg said, do any of you have any stories with any stories or experiences with Playboy Gary Hart? We never was around Gary Hart except for that little time he was in Atlanta. Was you ever around him, Jack?
No, never had the opportunity.
Very smart man, by the way. He knew how to get that kabuki thing over. I mean, we talked to him a couple of times while we were in there, but we didn't hang around Gary Hart.
I would love to have his book, but I can't afford to refinance my house to buy one.
That's right. That's the hardest find.
Yeah.
That you can find. Richard Hood said Bugsy McGraw was tremendous talent. Yes, he was. Victor said Bugsy got over in Florida as well. I never really watched much of championship wrestling from Florida. I just never watched a lot of it. Even on video, I didn't get those tapes. I never. Adrian Harper Jr., Macho Man, was amazing. Yes, he was. He was amazing. Michael said, Gary Hart, great manager. I remember Dusty calling him a semi-professional wino from Chicago.
Amongst many other things he called him. I remember the Florida thing, he called him the big white whale or something to that degree.
Jeremy said, has there been an update on the condition of Jim Crockett Jr.?
I have not heard anything new.
Adrian Harper Jr., what happened to Sweet Brown Sugar? I believe that was him. That was his name. I remember seeing on Georgia Championship Wrestling. Skip Young, I believe, was the Sweet Brown Sugar.
Skip passed away.
He was a very good wrestler, Skip Young was. By the way, Sweet Brown Sugar was also done by Coco Beware in Memphis. Maybe around the same time. Victor Nash, did you guys go watch the Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk in that Texas exploding barbed wire match? No, I was trying to do it last week, but the week got away from me before I could get it. Did you watch it, Jack?
I saw it years ago. That was one, I believe, from Japan that they did. Yeah.
Rodney, have you seen this?
I have not. It popped up on it just popped up on my phone, so I will probably check that out this week.
Oh, Glenn was telling us what that was. He made everything car Mr. Gasket was the all right. That I think that makes sense. I'm not. Mickey said, "Watch Muda versus Kabuki on YouTube as well." Also, man, I want to see this. I didn't even know they ever wrestled each other, but that was pretty good. I bet there was a lot of green mist, yellow mist, blue mist. I bet there's mist all over that ring by the time they got through. Oh, Charlie McGuy used to complain about them spitting that green stuff. He would complain. He said, I have to go clean that mat again because you spit that stuff. He would tell them off about it. Never like that. Kevin, I saw something about Inoki being in rehab. Do you know if he's very ill?
Jack? I think he had a shoulder replacement. Now, Inoki is not young anymore. I don't know exactly how old he is, but age is catching up with him, and I hated to see the shape he was in, but he's tough.
By the way, folks, if you're watching, if you have not been a supporter, or you have not even thought about it, make sure you go. We're going to be starting to change what we're doing on the supporter. We actually changed a little bit this week. When you watch it Sunday, we talked about some things that we don't talk about on all everything else most of the time. And we got into some deep conversation, me, Jack, and Rodney did. So if you're not become a supporter, go support the channel and join us, and you'll see what we're talking about, because it's going to change in the springtime, and we're going to do more of the more about the behind the scenes stuff, and more about the wrestling business and the way it ran in the territory days. And we will Susan Renee, I believe it was in Japan.
Yep.
I believe you're right about that match. Kevin said, I saw online that Jim Crowder Jr. was in hospice care.
Yeah.
Dave Mazur reported that on the Wrestling Observer Radio. I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
Really do hate to hear that. Mickey said at the end of the match, Kabuki spoke perfect English and told Muta time he would kill him.
Next time, I think is what he meant.
Next time he would kill him. Well, Victor Nash said, what was your thoughts on Butch Reed beating Flair for the world title? Guys? Did he beat him for the world title?
No.
I don't recall that.
No, I think he could have. I think Butch would have been a great world champion, if that's what you're meaning, Victor.
It was probably one of those Dusty deals where you won it and then you have to give it back by the count.
Yes.
Well, Dusty's not the only one that did that, by the way.
No, he's not.
Dusty was not. They did the same thing with Wrestling 2 and Harley Race in Georgia. That's how Wrestling 2 became the champion of champions. So it's that Dusty wasn't he wasn't exclusive to him.
Crockett should have kept Gary Hart booking in the Mid-Atlantic territory. I think Dusty was there too long.
Yeah.
I think he was there too long. I think he should have got a year. They should have let him leave for about, he didn't even have to leave the territory, just be gone, just take care of a couple of finishes and stuff, but let somebody else book, and then he come back and do it. I think that would have been the best way to do it. All right, we're going into Victor Nash says about time for a Butch Reed show. Yes, I am working on a Butch Reed show. Charles said, don't forget to contribute to Jack's Gold for Gary Hart book.
Gary Hart and cigars.
and also the T-shirt. Don't forget, you go buy your T-shirts at prowrestlingtees.com. /Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. I think you can also search it. It'll come up as well. We'll get one more, and then we got to go. Adrian Harper Jr. said, you all ever talk about Detroit Big Time Wrestling? I loved it as the kid, Bobo Zero, the original Sheik, Bulldog, Darn Kent. I was hooked after seeing these legends. And we will talk about it. The only problem is we never watched it. We never watched that show. So, but we will talk about it a little bit, because Sheik had a great territory, but again, he did some things that killed his own territory in within a couple of years. And I think one of the things is Sheik and Bobo Brazil wrestled for 22 years with each other there. So that was a long time, because I believe in 1979, wasn't they, or 1980, didn't Nick Goulas bring in Bobo Brazil and the Sheik and put them on the main events when they had this maybe 1977 when the split happened between Jarrett and Nick Goulas? I think I remember seeing that.
I remember him coming in. I remember that Nick Goulas did recognize the Sheik as the United States champion.
I thought he did too. All right, guys, next Monday, we don't know really right now what we're going to talk about. Victor Nash said he's going to order another shirt next week, so that would be good. Gary Hart would be censored today for his interviews.
A lot of people would.
Yes, a lot of people. Eddie Farhat was an interesting individual, and he did say, yes, I saw Sheik and Bobo match for Goulas, so that did happen. We don't know what we're going to talk about next Monday. Next Tuesday, we'll let people know. Also be looking for a special tonight. A post just for the supporters. If you're a supporter of the page, I'm going to probably right after we get off here and do our YouTube videos, I'm going to post another video, not a video, but I'll post a photograph and stuff, because Thursday and Fridays, or Fridays and Saturdays posts did not go off for some reason. I don't know what happened. They were there, but they never got sent. So I do them in advance, and for some reason they did not get sent. So you'll get that one tonight. Rodney, anything we need to talk about before we leave?
I think we got it all covered.
Jack, anything?
We really do need to make sure we send our prayers out for Jimmy Crockett. He did a tremendous. Every time Dad ever called, he had a spot for him, and so keep Jimmy Crockett and the whole Crockett family.
And anybody that's interested, there's a link on my Facebook page for Ann Casey for a GoFundMe to help pay for her funeral expenses also.
Yeah, please get over there, and if you can help, please do so. And we will see everyone next Monday night. And if you're a supporter, we're heading over to the supporter page, and we will talk just generic wrestling tonight. I think we'll talk Charlie Fulton, Sergeant Slaughter, Ole Anderson, a bunch of people tonight as we continue our conversation just here in a moment for all the supporters. Thank y'all so much, and we will see you. We do appreciate everyone. We are almost at 23,000 insiders. We only got maybe 42 more to go, and we're almost at 1,300 on YouTube, and we certainly do appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week right here as we go live on Pro Wrestling Inside Now.